Aztec and Mesoamerican culture is brimming with iconic and wondrous deities, but this plumed serpent is often considered to be at the forefront. A perfect blend of bird and rattlesnake, this god of the winds and rain was later depicted in human form, kitted out in the highest quality bling and accessories, and, just atop of the importance of this ruler, he is also considered to be the creator of the world and humanity, following a cunning escape from the Underworld. Hello and welcome, or welcome back to Pantheon Mythology. Join me today as we delve into the fascinating history and lore of Quetzalcoatl and discover what makes him one of the most revered and enigmatic gods of the ancient world. Quetzalcoatl, whose name means feathered serpent, derived from the Nahuatl words for the Quetzal bird and Coatl, meaning serpent, had a legendary lineage to rival any royal family tree. The third son of the dual creator god, Ometeotl, with elder siblings Xipetotec and Tezcatlipoca, while his younger brother was Huitzilopochtli, deity of war, the sun and human sacrifice. Marking his grand entrance into the art scene around 100 BCE, depictions of the feathered serpent began to appear in images, statues and carvings throughout much of Central America. Typically, these depictions featured a carved snake head mounted on a wall, with additional relief carvings depicting feathers or birds. Notably, these carvings often featured a conch shell, which was a symbol associated with the wind. However, starting from 1200 CE, Quetzalcoatl began to be depicted in human form, often adorned with shell jewelry and a pointed hat called a copili. In addition, he was often portrayed wearing a hatband that held sacrificial implements, along with other accessories like a flower, a fan made of black and yellow feathers, and earrings made of jade circles or spiral shells called etkololi. The god was also known to wear the wind jewel, Quetzalcoatl, a cross-section of a conch whirl worn as a pectoral. Yes, that's right, across his defined, chiseled pecs. As Quetzalcoatl, who was another form of the great deity, he was depicted as being black in colour and wearing a red mask resembling a duck's beak, along with long canine teeth. Being the god of cardinal directions, Quetzalcoatl was associated with the colours black, north, red, east, blue, south and white, west. From shell jewellery to conical hats and wind jewels, this fashion icon really knew how to dress to impress. Quetzalcoatl's position in the Aztec belief system was intricate and varied. Although he was credited with the creation of humankind and the provision of their essential crops, it was his sibling, Tezcatlipoca, who held dominion over the present age. As with many of his divine peers, Quetzalcoatl's part has undergone modifications throughout the ages, being adapted to match the mindset of contemporary Spanish authors trying to comprehend a foreign way of thinking. At times, Quetzalcoatl was depicted as a cunning deity whose schemes didn't always go according to plan, but nevertheless always benefited mankind. He's a good 'un, alright. Being one of the four sons to the original creator gods, Quetzalcoatl was instructed to create the world. Unfortunately for us, in some versions of this creation myth, Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca didn't have the best of relationships. Brothers, right? And the constant conflict between Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca resulted in the creation and destruction of the four ages in a cyclical fashion, meaning we're currently in the fifth age. In a happier, alternate version of the creation story, Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca were more collaborative in their efforts, working together to create the sun, the first man and woman, fire, and the rain gods. The two gods even transformed into massive snakes and tore apart the female reptilian monster Tlachtcutli, also known as Cipactli, to create the earth and sky. Trees, plants and flowers sprouted from the creature's hair and skin. Nice. while springs and caves were formed from her eyes and nose. Lovely. Mountains and valleys emerged from her mouth. Awesome. However, in some versions of the story, Cipactli's divine spirit was understandably upset to have lost her physical body in such a violent attack, and the only way to appease her was through the practice of human sacrifice, which was a controversial aspect of Mesoamerican culture. Quetzalcoatl played a significant role in the creation of the Fifth Age by creating people to populate it. However, he needed to obtain the bones of the deceased to do so. The bones were kept in the underworld of Mictlan and were guarded by Mictlantecuhtli and Mictlantecuhtli, the Lord and Lady of Death. In order to obtain the bones, Quetzalcoatl had to trick the two guardians. Mictlantecuhtli agreed to give him the bones only if Quetzalcoatl could create a sound by blowing into a conch shell with no holes in it. Quetzalcoatl used his wit to complete the task. He had worms drill a hole in the shell and then filled it with bees. When he blew into the shell, it produced the bedazzling sound Mictlantecuhtli was looking for. Unfortunately for our hero, his plan to trick Mictlantecuhtli was foiled when he was caught by the Lord of Death, and he fell into a deep pit, losing consciousness and scattering the bones he had stolen. Once he managed to escape, Quetzalcoatl mixed the bones together, inadvertently creating the diversity of human height. To create the first humans of the Fifth Age, Quetzalcoatl mixed the bones with corn and his own blood, and voila! Just like magic, here we are today. Another legend describes how the Aztec people faced scarcity of food and maize, which was located on the other side of a mountain range, inaccessible to them. Despite the unsuccessful attempts of other gods to retrieve the maize by moving the mountains, Quetzalcoatl used his ingenuity to transform himself into a black ant and journeyed to the maize. He successfully brought a kernel back to the Aztec people, providing them with a stable food source. Quetzalcoatl remains one of the most complicated and fascinating deities in Aztec mythology. From his role as creator of humanity and provider of staple crops to his involvement in battles with his brother gods and his ultimate trickery in obtaining the bones to the underworld, Quetzalcoatl has been a multifaceted figure whose role has evolved over time. Today, Quetzalcoatl continues to capture the imaginations of many, not just in Mesoamerican cultures, but across the world. Through his various depictions and stories, he remains a timeless symbol of power, creation and rebirth, an all-round legendary figure in all of mythology. If you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, as it really helps us grow. And we release new mythologically delicious content every week. Be sure to check out our clothing brand, Pantheon Apparel too. It features designs inspired by mythologies from across the world, including Aztec and, of course, the star of today's video. We're rated excellent on Trustpilot and ship worldwide. You'll find a link in the description. Click on the video on the left here to watch a video that YouTube has chosen for you, and on the right here is our binge playlist if you want to go on a journey across the pantheons. But most important of all, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.